My husband gambled away the $18,000 I spent 3 years saving to fix my broken spine. The smell hit me before I even saw it. It was thick, sweet, and suffocating. It smelled like a funeral parlor masked by cheap air freshener. But beneath that, if I concentrated, I could smell something else, something metallic, like old pennies or dried blood. David was standing in the middle of the living room, blocking my view of the dining table. He had a grin on his face that I hadn't seen in 6 months, not since the day he got laid off from the logistics firm. It was a manic, wide-eyed grin that made the hair on the back of my arms stand up. "Close your eyes," he said, his voice vibrating with an energy that felt wrong. It wasn't joy, it was the frantic energy of a man walking a tightrope. I stood in the doorway, leaning heavily on my cane. A sharp, hot wire of pain ran from my lower back down to my left heel. My L4 and L5 vertebrae were grinding against each other, bone on bone, a sensation that had become the background noise of my entire existence. "David, I'm tired," I said, my voice tight. "I just did a 9-hour shift from my laptop in bed. My back is screaming. I don't have time for games." "No games, Sarah. Just trust me," he pleaded, stepping forward but keeping his body angled to hide whatever was on the table behind him. "I know things have been dark lately. I know I haven't been myself, but today is different. Today is the turning point." I looked at him, really looked at him. He was wearing his best shirt, the blue button-down he wore to interviews, but it was wrinkled. His eyes were red-rimmed, puffy, like he hadn't slept in 2 days. He looked like a man who had just survived a car crash and was laughing about it. "Did you get a job?" I asked, a flicker of hope sparking in my chest. If he got a job, maybe the pressure would lift. Maybe I wouldn't have to count every cent. Maybe the surgery fund wouldn't be the only thing standing between me and a wheelchair. He laughed, a sharp, barking sound. "Better. I made a move, Sarah, a big move, and I want to celebrate." "A move?" The hope died instantly, replaced by a cold pit in my stomach. David's moves usually involved scratch-off tickets or borrowing money from his brother for guaranteed business ideas. What kind of move? "Just close your eyes," he insisted, reaching out to take my hand. His palm was clammy. "Please, for me, I need you to see this the right way." I sighed, the exhaustion weighing heavier than gravity. "Fine." I closed my eyes. I heard him shuffle his feet. I heard the rustle of stiff paper. "Okay," he whispered, close to my ear. "Open them." I opened them. For a second, my brain couldn't process what I was looking at. It was massive. It took up half the dining table, a towering, chaotic explosion of petals, deep, dark red roses, vibrant pink peonies that looked like bursting organs, and white hydrangeas that looked like bone. It was the most expensive floral arrangement I had ever seen in my life. It looked like something you'd send to a celebrity, or perhaps place on the grave of a mafia don. "Surprise!" David shouted, throwing his arms out. I stared at the thing. It was beautiful in a grotesque, over-the-top way. But my mind was racing, doing the math. Peonies were out of season. Those roses were the long-stemmed, imported kind. The vase alone, heavy, cut crystal, was worth more than our weekly grocery budget. "David," I said slowly, the metallic taste of fear rising in my throat, "where did you get this?" "I bought it," he beamed, "for you, to apologize for the stress, to show you that I appreciate you sticking by me." "With what money?" The question hung in the air, sucking the oxygen out of the room. David's smile faltered just for a fraction of a second before he plastered it back on. "Don't worry about the money," he said, waving a hand dismissively. "I handled it. Like I said, I made a move. Things are going to be different now." Handled it how? I took a step toward the table. The flowers loomed over me. Up close, the dark red roses looked wet. They looked like raw meat. "David, our checking account has $42 in it. My credit cards are maxed out paying for your car insurance. Where did the money come from?" He stepped between me and the flowers, his body language shifting from excited to defensive. "Why do you always do this? Why can't you just accept a nice gesture? I'm trying to be romantic here, Sarah." "I can't accept a nice gesture because we are broke," I snapped, the pain in my back flaring as I raised my voice. "Did you borrow it? Did you take a payday loan? Tell me." "I didn't borrow it," he yelled back. "It was our money. I made it work for us." Our money? The world stopped. We didn't have our money. We had debt. We had bills. And we had... No, he wouldn't. He couldn't. I pulled my phone out of my pocket. My hands were shaking so hard I dropped it on the carpet. I scrambled to pick it up, gasping as my spine seized up. "Sarah, don't," David said, his voice dropping to a desperate whine. "Don't look at the app. Let me explain first. Just listen to the plan." I ignored him. I unlocked the phone. I opened the banking app. I didn't even look at the checking account. I scrolled all the way to the bottom, to the account labeled Spinal Fusion Fund. 3 years. 3 years of skipping lunches. 3 years of wearing shoes with holes in the soles. 3 years of freelance copywriting until 2 a.m., crying silently so I wouldn't wake him, just to put away $50 here, $100 there. $25,000. That was the goal. I was at $18,400. I was 6 months away from booking the surgery, 6 months away from being able to walk without feeling like someone was stabbing me with an ice pick. I tapped the account. The number on the screen was so small, I thought it was a speck of dust. $12.43. I stared at it. I refreshed the page. $12.43. A sound escaped my throat. It wasn't a scream. It was a broken, strangled wheeze. "I can fix it," David was saying, his voice sounding like it was coming from underwater. "I have a system. I was up, Sarah. I was up $3,000 yesterday. I just had a bad streak this morning, but I know how to win it back." I clicked on the transaction history. It was a bloodbath. Jan 4, crypto transfer, minus $5,000. Jan 4, bet MGM, minus $2,000. Jan 5, DraftKings, minus $3,500. Jan 5, ATM withdrawal, minus $1,000. Line after line. In the span of 48 hours, he had drained the life out of me. He had taken my future, my health, my body, and he had fed it into a digital slot machine. And then, the final transaction, the tombstone on my grave. Today, Lux Florist and Events, minus $184.50. I looked up from the phone. I looked at the flowers. Suddenly, the image shifted. I didn't see roses anymore. I saw the fibers of my own muscles. I saw the red, raw tissue of my spine. I saw my blood congealed and wrapped in expensive matte paper. "You spent $18,000, I whispered. My voice was deadly calm. "You spent my surgery money." "I was trying to double it," he shouted, tears streaming down his face now. "I wanted to pay for the whole surgery. I wanted to buy you a new car. I felt like such a loser, Sarah, having you pay for everything. I wanted to be the hero." "The hero?" I pointed a trembling finger at the monstrosity on the table. "You took the last $200, the last scraps of my savings, and you bought flowers?" "I wanted to soften the blow," he sobbed. "I knew you'd see the balance. I thought if I bought you something beautiful, if I showed you I still loved you, maybe you wouldn't leave me. I panicked. I just wanted to make you smile one last time before I fixed it." "You didn't buy me flowers, David," I said. I walked over to the table. The smell was nauseating now. It smelled like rot. "You carved pieces out of my back and put them in a vase." I reached out and grabbed a handful of the dark red roses. The thorns dug into my palm, but I didn't care. The pain in my hand was nothing compared to the fire in my spine. "Sarah, stop! Is this what my health is worth to you?" I screamed, throwing the roses at his feet. "A centerpiece? A prop for your delusion?" I grabbed the heavy crystal vase. It was heavy with the weight of 3 years of my life. "No, no, no!" David backed away, hands up. I didn't throw it at him. I didn't want to go to jail. I wanted to destroy the symbol. I shoved the vase off the table. It hit the hardwood floor with a sound like a gunshot. Water exploded everywhere, soaking David's socks. Glass shards skittered across the room. The beautiful, expensive flowers lay in a heap of wet, broken wreckage. They looked like roadkill. David stared at the mess, his mouth open. "I can't believe you did that," he whispered. "I was trying to be nice." That sentence broke the last tether holding me to him. "I'm leaving," I said. "You can't leave," he said, looking up, his eyes wide with panic. "You have no money. I spent it all." He was right. I had $12.43 to my name. I had a broken back. I had a husband who was a thief and a gambling addict. I'd rather crawl on my hands and knees to a shelter than spend another night in this house with you, I said. I turned around and walked to the bedroom. It took me 20 minutes to pack a suitcase. Every time I bent down, my spine seized, tears leaking from my eyes from the sheer physical agony. But I didn't stop. David stood in the doorway the whole time, crying, begging, promising he would call his parents, promising he would get 2 jobs, promising he would never touch a computer again. I didn't look at him. I was done looking at him. I zipped the bag. I grabbed my cane. I grabbed my laptop, my only tool to rebuild my life. I walked past him, through the living room, past the puddle of water and the scattered, dying flowers. The smell of them followed me to the door, that sickly, sweet scent of decay. I opened the front door and stepped out into the cold night air. I checked my phone one last time as I limped toward my car. A notification popped up from the bank. Overdraft fee applied, -$35. He hadn't just zeroed me out, he had put me in the negative. I got into the car and sat there for a moment, gripping the steering wheel. I was in pain. I was broke. I was alone. But as I looked back at the house, at the silhouette of the man standing in the window, I realized something. The flowers were dead. The money was gone. But for the first time in 3 years, I wasn't carrying his dead weight on my back anymore. I put the car in drive, and I didn't look back.